These are some real bad muffins.
Not stand how the news has been dogging Gen Z and calling them lazy for not wanting to work a 9 to 5 for the rest of their lives. Let me put it in perspective for everybody who's a little confused here, okay? I work 5 days out of the week, 40 hours a week, okay? I do not make enough to live on my own. I would not make enough to pay rent, water, electric, and eat. All by myself. I would not be capable of doing that. 20 years ago when you were getting started, you could live on your own. 20 years ago when you first started, you were able to do everything that I am now struggling to do. Let me add another perspective here. You've been working for 20 years. You have 20 years of working experience behind your belt. You have 20 years of experience in a career that has allowed you to gain raises, to get more money, to profit you in an economy that you created. You can sit here and you can call Gen Z lazy all you want, but I've been working my tail end off just to barely make it by. And respectfully, I don't want to do that for the rest of my life. I don't want to work my tail end off, wasting all of my life working just to barely be able to pay my bills.
These are some real bad muffins. There's some real bad muffins. Gen Z is exploding onto the scene, still talking crap about Gen X, even after they've been warned to, mess around, find out, mess around, find out. But they haven't learned their lessons because Gen Z struggles. Just like they struggled in school, they're struggling to learn their lessons in real life. So out here running their mouths and crying victim. Watch the end of this video to understand the reasons why Gen Z are some real bad muffins and the fact that they haven't learned their lessons yet and the implications it's going to have when Gen X basically steps up and starts to let them know why they are top dog. Now let's just go ahead and jump right into the video.
And that is what you created, not Gen Z. We're just here getting started. You've been doing it for the last 20 years. You tell me how it got ruined. We can sit here and we can call Gen Z lazy all you want, but you let the economy turn into what it did. You let it all run to hell.
Who let Gen X off the hook? Why aren't we talking shit about those guys?
Because, sir, we will fuck you up. We fought in real life, not on the internet. We are the last generation of feral children. We didn't have safe spaces. We didn't have trigger warnings. No one was allergic to fucking gluten. We mind our own business. We are older than Google. We are not the bigger person. Leave us alone.
You see, Gen X is still working through a lot of that trauma. I would say they've processed it, and more so they just had to move on. Gen X were poor children who suffered narcissistic abuse at the hands of some very, very crazed lunatics who would have been in prison today if they were ever raising children in the modern day era. The Gen Xers that you see still standing today are the ones who survived, okay? And the results are these are the toughest and strongest people on the planet. Gen Z doesn't know anything about life. They have never touched grass a day in their lives. They're a bunch of good-for-nothing instigators who are basically crying victim all the time and saying that the world owes them something when the reality is that this is a horrible, evil, vindictive, spiteful, cruel world that we live in. And you have to fight every day just for survival. And the craziest thing about life is that everything is never going to fully align. There are always going to be ups and downs in life. And when I say ups and downs, I mean there are going to be periods in your life where you don't even think you're going to survive. Gen Zers have had relatively comfortable lives because their parents have shielded them from most of the harshnesses of the world. Oh, woe is me. I work at Walmart making $15 an hour, but I get to live at home with my parents and spend all of my money on purses, shoes, and fast food, and then cry about not being able to afford rent because I can't buy a house right now. And 100 years ago, people that didn't have to live with roommates that they didn't know. Like these people are such nasty individuals. It's no wonder that the workforce is no longer hiring them. It's no wonder that companies don't want to hire them anymore.
Using the internet to kind of keep a pulse on the labor market, as I often do, I came across an article that I thought was really interesting. The headline here says nearly 4 in 10 employers avoids hiring recent college grads in favor of older workers. And obviously it caught my attention because I feel like it's kind of surprising. When you look at the pulse of the workplace, especially for people who are older and they're kind of further along in their career, the underwriting theme is that they feel that a lot of these jobs they're not qualifying for because a recent college grad or somebody that's early in their career is going to be the cheaper option, and companies will often lay off people who are more expensive, who, you know, they feel like maybe they can replace their skill set more easily with a recent college grad. And so seeing this article where it says the exact opposite is kind of an eye-opener. Now, when you talk to a college graduate, they'll also experience the same frustration, saying, well, I can't get a job. It's like kind of the vicious cycle, the wheel. You can't get a job because you don't have experience, but you can't get experience because you don't have a job. And it's kind of this cyclical thing. And so being a recent college grad is one of the hardest jobs to get, that first job, because you have to convince an employer that you have the skill set to do so. And then, again, for the older worker, they kind of are experiencing the exact opposite, where you could kind of age yourself out. Especially for an older worker, you'll often find if you don't keep pace with the skill set, your wages kind of, there's a point of diminishing returns where you will hit a certain there's a certain point in your career where you'll no longer be able to continue to move upward in salary bands, especially if you don't move into an entirely different job classification, like going into a leadership career path. So when I was reading through this article, there's some things that really kind of stood out to me. And one of the interesting things is how college grads, the younger generation, is perceived. And specifically, they're talking about in this article, the Gen Z college grads who are struggling to struggling to kind of incorporate themselves or integrate themselves into the professional world. I think that's where employers are feeling frustrated. So this company, there was a survey done by this company, and this is through intelligent.com. Basically what they're saying, and I'll kind of read through some of the highlights of it, is that older workers are being offered better pay, which is not surprising because they have more skills, just because they have demonstrated experience. They offer older workers better pay and increased benefits, but to avoid hiring Gen Z graduates, which I thought was really interesting. It said when asked if they avoid hiring college graduates for positions that they're eligible for in favor of older candidates, 39% of employers said that they do. These employers are willing to implement a variety of tactics to avoid working with recent college grads, including offering more benefits to attract older workers, paying higher salaries, and offering remote and hybrid work in order to hire more an older employer who's overqualified for a position instead of hiring somebody who's younger.
So, guys, they are literally rolling out the red carpet to avoid hiring Gen Zers because they like them that little. So they will pay an older millennial or a Gen Xer more money for the position, give them remote work, roll out the red carpet, negotiate with them, go to great lengths to hire them over a Gen Zer, because Gen Z they're such bad little muffins that no one wants to work with them, no one wants to deal with them. All right. These people are absolutely clueless.
So I'm pretty mad about a video that I just saw. To clarify the title, it's not about all of Gen Z. I know some of y'all are smart people, but this woman, and I posted a short about it, she said, like, oh, you can't be racist towards white people, and you can't be sexist towards men. And if you're smart, you do know that you could be sexist towards anyone, you could be racist towards anyone. There's no limit on race when it comes to racism. There's no limit on gender when it comes to sexism. Like, it's just, it makes me feel mad.
Gen Z are a bunch of virtue signaling little muffins. All right, they are some bad muffins. They should never have made it out of the oven. It's an unfortunate. It's a bad batch. Maybe the recipe was bad to begin with. That's for God to decide. But we really have to work as a society to just move beyond this bad batch of muffins. Because there's some bad little muffins. There's some bad little muffins. All right. What are the implications of Gen Z in society? The implications is that because they've lived these very easy lives, and they believe that society owes them something, they're going to end up in extraordinary destitution. Guys, think about this. In 3 years, the oldest of Gen Z are going to be 30. In 10 years, the Gen Zers that are still with us, because a lot of them won't be, but the Gen Zers that are still with us, they're going to be desperate adults pushing 40. All right, they're going to be they're going to be out there stealing and squatting, stealing and squatting. The reason why I'm able to do the things that I'm able to do, the reason why I'm able to rebound the way I'm able to rebound is because of resilience. It's because of the education I got growing up. Guys, it's crazy, but a D student back in 1990 is a PhD in 2024 compared to a Gen Zer. All right, those degrees that Gen Z got, those high school diplomas and college degrees, a high school diploma that someone got, that the last generation would be the millennials. Like the millennials and before and going back before the millennials. Right, even some of the millennials are screwed up. So let's just basically say a Gen Xers, Zennials, and older millennials. Our degrees and our diplomas, our high school diplomas, are worth substantially more than a Gen Zers. Okay, because all of these people got their degrees, got their high school diplomas during a period of time when the world was crashing, when the world was not really open for business. All right, these people can barely read. They go to the front of the class and they can't even read. Like, let's be real. All right, they're like, Jimmy, go to the front of the class and read this passage, on Huckleberry Finn, and they're up there like, huck, sound it out, Jimmy, sound it out. Huckleberry. It's Huckleberry. Take your time, sweetie. Take your time. They're a bunch of bad muffins, man. Bunch of bad muffins. They can't read right. Cursive looks like magic to them, witchcraft to them. They're not really going to make it. They're not going to really make it. A lot of them are going to find themselves in extraordinary states of destitution. They're passing away faster than any other generation over the last 100 years. They don't really have a bright future. Future for Gen Z is stealing, squatting, and destitution. Guys, if you're enjoying the content, consider checking out and subscribing to our newsletter for my personal thoughts, insights, and a free copy of my ebook, The Blueprint for Escaping the Rat Race. Click the link in the description to get your free copy. Guys, what do you think regarding all of this? These are some real bad muffins. Let me know your thoughts on Gen Z in the comments, and we'll talk about it there. Like the video if you like it. Don't forget to subscribe. And if you like the video, share the video. And just remember that all roads lead to MWM and walking away. And cheers.